Good morning. My name is Ted Lyons and I'm a member of St John the Baptist Church in Hillmorton. Thank you for tuning in. When I was about 6 or 7, I remember a little boy starting at my primary school. He was a year younger than me. I asked him his name and he said it was John Charles. John stood out because he was the only black boy in the school. I'd never seen a black boy before. Thinking back, it is now quite likely that John came with his parents from the West Indies on the ship Empire Windrush in 1948 at Tilbury Docks, which wasn't that far from where we lived. John was in the vanguard of what we now call the Windrush generation. John, by the way, went on to play football for West Ham United regularly at senior level. He was very good. He played full-back and played in many games. I remember going along to see him play and being proud that we had been friends at school. He was one of the first black players in the country. But sadly, he occasionally got a lot of abuse from football fans because of his colour. The Windrush generation have been in the news for the past few years. Many of them were deemed illegal residents despite the fact that some fought for this country in the Second World War and had lived and worked and paid their taxes over a lifetime. It was a very shameful act of government policy and remains an open wound for black people and white people today. A few weeks ago on the TV news, one of the Windrush generation, an elderly man, he was black, said how deeply aggrieved and angry he was at being treated with little or no respect for who he was. No appreciation that he'd been a good law-abiding citizen. But now, after 60 or so years, they said he had to leave. Then he said this: what we need to do is to treat others as we would like them to treat us. He said this twice. What we need to do is treat others as we would like them to treat us. What a difference this would make, he said. It was almost as if I was hearing these words of Jesus for the first time. Yes, this simple saying of our Lord could be life-changing. In fact, in Matthew 7, verse 12, Jesus says, "So in everything, do unto others what you would have them do for you." This, he said, sums up the law and the prophets. Think about it. That's quite remarkable. It sums up chapters and chapters in the Old Testament of the law and the prophets. Our Lord was a master of summary, of short sayings like that. That's all we have to do to transform our relationships with our family, our community, and across all national borders, whatever the colour of a person's skin. Nelson Mandela argued something similar after he was released from prison, having served a 30-year sentence. Black people, he said, weren't to treat white people as they had been treated by them, since, he said, that offered no hope. Since that offered no hope. Of course, it would take all of us to live by Jesus' teaching for such a transformation, and the likelihood of that happening is zero. But it has to begin somewhere, and who better than those who follow Jesus and do their best to live by his teaching, no matter how hard that might be sometimes. Living out these words of Jesus demonstrate whose children we are. There is a saying, like father, like son. When I was a young man in my 20s living at home, if the phone went and I would answer it, the person at the other end of the line would say, "Who is that speaking? Ted Senior or Ted Junior, me?" They couldn't tell the difference by my voice if it was my dad or myself. As God's children, we are called to be like our Father, like Son, whom Jesus described as kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. What a scandalous, undeserved grace that is. But thank God for his love for all of us, no matter who we are. This dreadful pandemic has given us as Christians new opportunities to surprise and help other people by the good things that we can say and do for them. Even take their breath away by treating them in the same way that we would like them to treat us.